Good morning. Across the country, Canadians were looking forward to beginning to reopen and round the corner on COVID-19. But now we find ourselves in Justin Trudeau's third wave. Des parties du pays sont fermées à nouveau. Les entreprises ferment leurs portes. Les enfants retournent à l'école à domicile. Hospitals are overwhelmed, and modeling suggests things will only get worse without the needed vaccine supply. Last week, the Ontario Science Table released modeling that showed we need to be vaccinating 300,000 people per day just to keep pace with the spread of the virus. The province says they have the capacity to get needles and arms, but they don't have the vaccines. Ontario alone now needs over 2.1 million doses of vaccines every week. But Justin Trudeau hasn't even secured that amount for the entire country. British Columbia is also in need of more vaccines, and they've been raising the alarm about the major issues caused by the lack of predictable supply from the federal government. Modeling in BC indicates that hospitals could soon be overwhelmed there as well. Au Québec, les pénuries ont obligé la redistribution des vaccins des cliniques de Montréal vers d'autres régions. La semaine passée, le ministre de la Santé du Québec a dit que des cliniques de vaccination n'étaient pas occupées car il manquait des doses. Pour assurer sa santé et son avenir, le Canada a besoin plus de vaccins. Justin Trudeau has moved too slow for this virus. It's racing ahead of us now, and our healthcare workers, our frontline heroes, are breaking their backs because we don't have adequate vaccine supply. Canada needs more vaccines, and we need them now. But the Liberals have been distracted. They've been planning an election instead of staying focused on getting Canadians through this crisis. For months, as provinces pleaded for more vaccines, all they heard from Ottawa was delays and vague promises about more doses months from now. Pendant des mois, Justin Trudeau n'a pensé qu'à lui-même, au lieu de se concentrer sur la santé des Canadiens. The Liberal government's first instinct at the start of this pandemic was to use the crisis as an opportunity to give themselves unchecked taxing and spending power for almost 2 years. Conservatives stopped this power grab. Now Mr. Trudeau wants to use this health and economic crisis as an opportunity to reimagine Canada's economy with risky schemes and a frightening level of future debt. In today's budget, we will see exactly what that reimagining exercise really means. Will we see an Ottawa knows best approach that picks winners and losers by deciding which jobs, which sectors, and which regions of the country will prosper after COVID-19? This unproven and often incompetent economic approach threatens the personal financial security of Canadians. When the Liberals table their budget this afternoon, Canadians can expect the Trudeau government to incur massive new financial commitments that he expects future generations to pay for. Dans ce budget, nous allons voir une approche Ottawa c'est tout. Cette approche choisit les gagnants et les perdants, en plus de menacer la sécurité financière des Canadiens. Elle crée de gros engagements financiers dont seules les générations futures vont pouvoir payer. Ces engagements vont laisser le Canada avec de hauts niveaux d'endettement ainsi qu'un avenir économique incertain. Les libéraux se soucient de leur image, mais pas des résultats. Nous l'avons vu à plusieurs reprises. The Liberals overpromise, underdeliver, and then they try to convince Canadians that they're wrong to feel let down. They won't be honest with the country, which is dangerous in these times. In contrast, Canada's Conservatives have tabled a plan to recover the 1 million jobs lost during this pandemic by taking immediate action on the hardest hit sectors, helping those who've suffered the most through COVID-19, including women and young people. And we will protect Canadians from future crises. Nous allons protéger l'avenir économique du Canada. Pour ce faire, nous allons offrir des incitatifs. Ces incitatifs vont créer de bons emplois payants et diminuer les impôts. Nous allons agir pour protéger les Canadiens des crises futures. After all, it was the Conservatives who got Canada out of the last crisis. I know we can get us out of this one too. Thank you very much. Merci beaucoup.
Et nous allons maintenant passer aux questions, commençant par les questions au téléphone. Un petit rappel, une question suivie par journaliste. Monsieur O'Toole prendra 6 questions aujourd'hui. We'll now take questions, starting with questions on the phone. Quick reminder, 1 question, 1 follow-up per reporter. Mr. O'Toole will be taking 6 questions, and we'll start with the phone. Operator, do we have a first question?
Thank you. Merci. Please press star 1 at this time if you have a question. S'il vous plaît, appuyez sur étoile 1 maintenant pour poser une question. There will be a brief pause while the participant register for questions. Il y aura un court délai vous permettant de vous enregistrer dans la file d'attente pour la période de questions. Thank you for your patience. Merci de patienter. There are no questions registered on the phone right now.
We'll take questions from the room. On prend des questions dans la salle. David?
Hi, Mr. O'Toole. Good morning. David Thurton, CBC News. Very good to see you.
Morning, David.
The first question I just want to ask you is that oftentimes when you talk about the budget and what you expect the Liberals to bring in it, you've expressed concerns that they're going to use this as an opportunity to do a reimagining exercise. Can you tell us what you mean by that term? What are some of your fears of the things that they might try to reimagine?
Well, great question. I use that term, David, because it's what the Prime Minister has said several times. Reimagine, build back better. That should scare a lot of small business owners and families, because what does Mr. Trudeau and his small group of advisors feel is better? I think mom or dad want a job. That's good for them. We need jobs in all parts of the country, in all sectors. If you look at the Liberals' recent convention, they want to make the CERB permanent forever in Canada, universal basic income, which would actually be an incentive not to have a full return to an economic, strong Canada and growing economy. So we will see what they announce today, but that reimagining huge debts and less opportunity for Canada should be disconcerting to Canadians.
And maybe just, succinctly, can you just maybe tell us 3 things that you need to see in this budget that you want to see?
I want to see a plan for jobs in all sectors of the economy in all regions, not an ideological approach against resource jobs, for example, or jobs in steel, aluminum, traditional industries. Second, I would like to see us work on our competitiveness. Before COVID-19, we saw $160 billion leave Canada because of Mr. Trudeau's approach, because of illegal rail blockades, and a number of things that made it seem that things can't get done in Canada. And third, we need a plan to get back to fiscal balance. The Conservatives have a plan to do that over the next decade so that we don't burden our children and our grandchildren with out-of-control debts. That's what seems to be Mr. Trudeau's intention. We'll see if there's any sort of plan for balance today.
And we'll go back to the phone. Nous allons retourner au téléphone. Operator, next question.
De nouveau, n'hésitez pas à appuyer sur étoile 1 pour toute question. All participants, please press star 1 for any questions. Still no question on the phone. Il n'y a pas de questions sur le téléphone.
Can we double check if the phone line, the question queue is open, just in case? Sometimes we have trouble with it.
I saw a lot of people in the lineup for budget lockup, so I'm sure
Yeah,
that's
that might
where
be
people
it
are.
too.
It'll be a good day, and we'll be chatting later with you. Thank you for the opportunity this morning. Thank
All
you.
right. This concludes the press conference. Ici met fin à la conférence de presse. Merci.